Hi, I'm the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your April reading for Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Rising, and Scorpio Moon. So we'll be looking at life, love, and money. So the overall energy during this time for you in April is the Page of Wands. Perhaps you are dealing with someone younger, maybe you are connected to a fire sign, an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or it's just the energy of this page that's important. This is a month where there's going to be a change of plan. This is a page who is very enthusiastic. He's motivated. He's forward-looking. So he's oriented toward the future. And there could be some kind of exciting news or information that motivates you to make some changes. It's necessary for you to immediately respond to the conditions at hand. For some of you, this is about some kind of spirited interaction that you're having with other people. It's about opening your heart for contact with others, putting in earnest effort. So for some of you, perhaps there's some new possibilities that you're working on. Maybe you've connected with someone new. This is a new acquaintance. Whatever it is, there's some small changes occurring in your life right now that are actually going to make a big difference for you and your future. It could be a change in the way you relate, your relationship, your social attitude, your environment. So for some of you, there could be an invitation in the offing. Maybe you're going to go on a short trip, or you're going to attend some kind of gathering within the community, maybe a party, or maybe you're a speaker. Whatever it is, you seem to be highlighted. You're the focus of the attention. And perhaps once you are among the crowd, you realize that your social skills are not as rusty as you thought they were. But for others of you, it could be that you're looking at a relationship and how it's changed, and you're wondering why you're at this juncture. There's some kind of impasse. Some small things have occurred that have taken you down a path and you don't even know how you got there. There's a focus on gaining some kind of renewal, and perhaps you're working toward that. You want to have a sense of peace, change. So you may be motivated to, take care of your health or your mental state, your emotional situation, or you may be motivating others to do that. There's some form of renewal, and at the crux of it is faithfulness or some kind of good news that you receive. So if you were looking for something, you're probably going to get a positive answer or a positive result. There's some kind of happy announcement. And there could be issues of faithfulness between you and others, generosity, loyalty. Or maybe those are things that you're looking at. Your intuition is cluing you in about your connections with other people. Perhaps you're put to the test or someone else is. So this is about having strong values, your moral compass. What are your intentions, and do they allow you to move forward and succeed? And again, it could be that you're going to be receiving some positive news. Now, how is this all going to play out? What's the final outcome? You have this Seven of Wands, so perhaps you're motivated to renew in some way. You're trying to gain an advantage. And maybe at this point, you've decided that you want to step into the fray. And you may have the upper hand right now. You're ready to go at it in order to come out on top. Now, keep in mind that the Seven of Wands is also being defensive, protective. So you may be focused on your defenses, whether those are physical, emotional, or otherwise, trying to, stand your ground, gain some kind of upper hand. But the Seven of Wands also requires some amount of flexibility, adaptability to circumstances, and that may be important. Keeping that upper hand requires that you can adapt to whatever is going on. So you have to look at where you've played a role in any situation that you're not quite happy about. It could be that you've taken this stance and you're sticking with it, and that's actually at the root of some discomfort that you're feeling. But this is about it's about being fearless, being ready to get in on the action. And the advice is curveball. Now, perhaps you get some news that requires you do something because of some unexpected circumstances, something you didn't expect, something coming out of left field that is a game changer for you on some level. And it forces you to try to maintain your position or even rise above others. Maybe you're trying to rally others to your side, wield some kind of influence. Now, what's going on in your love life? You have this distance card. So for some of you, distance is an issue. Maybe you're in a long distance relationship. Maybe you're wanting to travel. Maybe you've gotten involved with somebody and it suddenly takes off. It's a whirlwind relationship. Or you're having to decide if you want to make that first move. So something may be taking off, literally or figuratively. Now, in other situations, perhaps you may need to go the distance with a partner. There could be some kind of difficulty, and that ties into the curveball where you're trying to gain an advantage or you're on the defensive. Something requires that you go to great lengths, and you are doing a lot of thinking. You're contemplating your situation. Perhaps at times you may even feel like you're not being taken seriously. There's a lot going on in your head right now. And in some cases, you may be seeking advice about what to do next, or maybe you're offering that. And at the center of it is having some kind of hope or faith, a positive reward for, trying, for your patience, for going that distance. The only thing is, hope has a blindfold on, so you have to question whether this is blind faith, whether this is hope against all odds. And maybe that's why there's, as I said, a lot going on in your head. Messages, internal messages, perhaps messages that you're trying to figure out from others. And the final outcome for that is strength. So it appears that you have made peace with a situation. You're feeling comfortable in your own skin and you've made peace with another person. Maybe you've decided to put aside your ego, because this is about being loyal, faithful, devoted, your strength of character. And, maybe in the past you were grappling with some kind of self-doubt, or you were afraid of any kind of ramifications within the relationship, a fear of being alone or failure. The Strength card says, you've given your best, or you feel that you have, so you're at peace. You're not allowing any kind of guilt to manipulate you in any way. This could also be a focus tied to children or your expression or something creative. But in the relationship row, it's likely that this is a romance. And again, you've come to terms with what your needs and desires are. You've got your ego in check. You don't feel the need to dominate or be aggressive because you're comfortable. This is also going to tie perhaps to your status in the world, how you're seen as an authority of some sort, or perhaps in your dealings with authorities. But it's the strength of character, your physical strength, your vitality, your success, and that bearing on your destiny. So you're thinking about placing your faith in something and going the distance, whether that is to travel or a long-distance relationship or a romance that's taking off, or again, having the strength to support someone during a difficult period. The advice is take the risk. So this is about going the distance, stepping out there, perhaps even having enough faith to make that first move, feeling comfortable enough in your own skin and your own authenticity to not be afraid of what the repercussions are if you take the risk. Now, what's going on with your financial picture? You have the Queen of Pentacles, and this is a good sign. You may be tied to an earth sign person, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is usually a good omen for business, for prosperity. The Queen of Pentacles is someone who is a very good planner. She's good at mastery of resources. So this could be a period where you're really looking at that bottom line. You're doing some planning, some organizing. You're looking at your budget. You're restructuring. There may be issues connected to property or investments, real estate. Or you may be involved with someone. Could be someone who's very maternal or a very good manager. This is someone who can do it all. And she's focused on the big picture. She's managing home, family, friendships, her body, health, business. She's got it all covered. So managing something is an issue. Now, it could be, though, negatively, this Queen of Pentacles is so good at managing that she has the tendency to step beyond her reach. And there could be a little bit of friction about who's making the decisions and do they have the right to. You also have change, so there's some kind of opportunity for change. Maybe something is ending. You're facing a truth about something, or you're waiting in vain for something. The Queen of Pentacles wants answers. So there could be some answers that you're seeking with regard to business or finance, or someone is expecting that of you. And you also have joyfulness in reverse. So maybe somebody's not happy with the change in their income or their business, or they're not getting the answers that they want. And it may have to do with failing to take care of business. Maybe somebody's ignoring responsibilities, or there's the denial of reality of a situation connected to business. Maybe you are relying heavily on out there. And of course, there's a lot of turmoil right now with the world environment. So it may be taking a toll on you. Maybe you don't have the answers, or you're unhappy with how something is going. It could be you're having to take a look at where maybe there's been too much materialism, looking for the materialistic to bring joy rather than the inner. The final outcome for your finances is this Wheel of Fortune. Now, perhaps there's some rapid improvement, some kind of change, but the wheel can swing either way. Maybe, if there's a lack of joyfulness, there's been some change that you're having difficulty dealing with. For some of you, this again may tie to expenses related to travel or cars, tires. That's on a mundane level. But there's a change of fortune where you're going to have to really be mindful of where you're lucky, counting your blessings. There could be a small thread of luck running through a circumstance, but maybe you're ignoring that. Or maybe something hasn't turned out quite the way you'd hoped. But the wheel says, be ready for a new cycle. You're closing something out, and perhaps it's been a blessing in disguise that things didn't go the way you wanted. Whatever is happening, even though you may feel that it's external and it's happening to you, in large part, you have played a role through your speech or behavior. You have had a hand in turning this wheel. Now, the advice is, that's on you, which reiterates whatever kind of change of fortune you're experiencing, whatever unhappiness there may be. It could be that maybe, somebody has dropped the ball. There's been a failure to follow through, or somebody's letting something go, or there's some denial. And as a result, the ramifications, the consequences, that's on you. You're going to have to deal with that. Those are choices that you made, or that is what you are telling someone else. Now, what is the underlying energy? This is not necessarily occurring. It can be, but it's the energy that's driving outer events. You have this Five of Swords, which I hate this card. It's one of the most negative in the deck. It means that even though maybe you were trying to stay on top of something, it's likely that something has fallen through the cracks. There's been a mistake, an error of judgment, a wrong turn somewhere, and there are consequences for that. There's a lot of negative energy. You may find yourself in a very competitive environment during the month of April, where people don't want to listen. They don't want advice. They want to do their own thing. That may be you or what you're dealing with. And at the worst, there could be some deception or treachery, maybe even something illegal. So you're looking at illicit activity, underhanded maneuvers, theft, trickery, and just overall negative energy. So you're facing some kind of no-win situation where you feel like you're trying to swim upstream and you're not making much headway. Now, the only positive that comes out of this is that you finally get some fire under you to deal with something that perhaps you have been ignoring, that you have been neglecting. And it incites you to take some action, particularly to find out where you are in the game, where you stand with the situation. In some cases, if you're pressing too far, you may get a rude awakening, some kind of comeuppance. You find out something that you really don't like. Now, you also have perspective. You may be trying to look at this negative situation in a positive light. You're putting on those rose-colored glasses and trying to find the best in something that doesn't have a lot of good in it. On the other hand, as time goes on, you may be seeing some glaring truths it's impossible to get away from. You also have the Star card. So for some of you, there's a strong tie to an Aquarius person. For others of you, this person may represent a girlfriend, a friend. You're very future-oriented, and perhaps there's a negative situation that gives you pause or doubt about the future. And you're having to rely on your faith. And, it could be that in some cases, maybe this was a talent that you were working on to develop and you feel like you're not making the progress that you want to. It could be for some of you that you're dealing with some kind of health issue, and maybe this is, you have dealings with social services. For others of you, this is about, again, knowing that some kind of transition has taken place and you're going to have to hope for the best. Your faith, your belief system, that's what you're riding on. Especially if there's been some emotional disappointment or some kind of setback, you may only have faith when you're faced with a negative situation. So the future is very important. You can take heart in that you are being divinely guided toward where you need to be. And you can feel this shift happening even if there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding you. This is about making some sacrifice or looking at where, again, you've been looking through those rose-colored glasses at some unnecessary sacrifice. It's possible that some kind of situation, perhaps the news that you receive, actually creates a sense of relief. There's some event where you feel refreshed, rejuvenated about life. But for many of you, you may feel very vulnerable right now, very open or exposed. Now, exposure could mean all manner of things, especially if there's been some kind of illegal or illicit activity. That could be up for scrutiny. You also have the Nine of Swords. And in this deck, it looks like you're ready to do battle. Whatever those inner demons were that were keeping you up at night, the regret, the remorse, the grief, the worry, or perhaps even illness, you are ready to fight that battle and deal with yourself. The Nine of Swords says that you've been dealing with some kind of anxiety about choices, whether those are your choices or the choices of others. And maybe you're finally ready to deal with some alternative solutions or courses of action that previously you had pushed aside for whatever reason. You now understand that you've got to face whatever's going on. And you're trying to manifest something, perhaps make a choice, one that is, the safe route and one that carries your passion. There's a risk factor here where you're trying to manifest something with your personal will. You're trying to create some kind of change through sheer force. At the root of that is money. Isn't that at the root of everything? So you have perhaps a focus on an increase in wealth, maybe something about an inheritance or some kind of winnings, or there's an issue concerning a pay raise or a bonus. But the focus is success and prosperity. So you're fighting any demons that you have or any guilt in trying to manifest something. And, you're going to have to hang in there with your situation. Whatever you are dealing with, there's some kind of test here. A test of your analytical thinking, your skills, intellectual analysis. You're having to really critique conditions and a situation before you make your choice. You're going to have to be very careful about working to overcome some form of uncertainty. So your judgment, your dedication is being tested. Also, your faith in yourself and your belief in others is being put to the test.